If you're in the market, you're trying to find a personal loan up to $100,000 because you may be trying to get rid of some credit card debt. You may trying to consolidate some other loans and things of that nature. I'm going to tell you some of the best places that you want to go up. And some of them are very low hanging fruit. That being said, the first lender I would tell you to go to is probably Alliant Credit Union. And the reason is Alliant uses VantageScore. That's right. They use a VantageScore. Now, many of you are familiar with a VantageScore for its TransUnion VantageScore, but what Alliant uses VantageScore TransUnion. Now, let me explain that. All right. So with your regular VantageScore, if you have a debt less than $100, they would still count it against you. If you have medical bills, they would still count that against you. But with the VantageScore, if you have those items, they don't count that against you anymore. Say that you go car shopping and you have multiple inquiries on the credit file and stuff like that. With the VantageScore, they don't count that against you. They count it as one inquiry. Okay, so that's the difference between the VantageScore and the VantageScore. But Alliant Credit Union, those loans go from $1,000 up to $100,000. Then the next low-hanging fruit, that I would call it a low-hanging fruit, is with Connector Credit Union. Now, here's the interesting thing about Connector Credit Union. Yes, they use Experian FICO 9, okay? And you guys know I love Vantage institutions as well as FICO 9 institutions. And the reason is because you can have authorized users, you can have utilities, you can have rental payments, you can have subscriptions, right? So you can have those four things to help build up the credit file. So that's what makes it so unique when you're using a Vantage scoring system or FICO 9 scoring system, because they're more flexible. Now with Connector, again, high inquiries, the loans go anywhere from $1,000 up to $100,000. Now they're non-geo restricted, meaning anybody can join them. All right, anybody can join them, just like with Alliant Credit Union. Anybody can join them, right? And they go up to 100,000. Then you have USAA, all right? Now, of course, with USAA, they're a little more strict because it has to be military, or if you have a family member that's sharing the same address as you, that's already a member of USAA, then that's a way for you to actually join as well, okay? That's just a little hack for you, but they use Experian FICO 8, okay? They use Experian FICO 8. The reason I do like them is because you don't have to have a perfect credit score with them. If you're hovering about a 650, 660, hey, they will open up the doors for you. And like I said, because they're offering loans, personal loans up to $100,000. All right. Then you have Wells Fargo. Okay. So here's the thing about it with Wells Fargo. People don't get Wells Fargo is Experian FICO 9. That's right. They pull Experian FICO 9 for their loans. Now, their loans go from $300 up to $100,000. Now, another thing I like about Wells Fargo, if you're able to qualify for a personal loan, then you may get their credit cards as well. And one of the best credit cards that I like, that if you're going to go for their personal loan, then I would probably go for their Wells Fargo Reflect card. Now, here's the reason why. The Wells Fargo Reflect card gives you 0% interest on balance transfers and purchases for 21 months. Now, that's a interest-free loan, plus they will give you checks to actually liquidate the card. That's right. You will actually be able to liquidate the card. So the money that you're borrowing, you're not paying any interest on it for 21 months. So looking at Wells Fargo, which I would probably go after? I probably would try to get the credit card, or I would probably get the credit card first and liquidate it and then go back and get the personal loan. But that's what I would do. That way I'll have access to more capital. All right. But that's just a little hack that most people don't know. And like I said, if you want a credit limit increase on a credit card, you can call and over the phone and they'll do a soft pull to get you that credit limit increase. All right. Now, the the next lender we're talking about is SoFi. Now with SoFi, here's the thing about it. They do a pre-approval. Now they say that they can get you a loan with a 610 credit score, right? But since you're looking for $100,000, I would tell you probably want to go in with at least a 680 or higher. All right. Not saying that they still wouldn't work with you with the 610, but I would probably be a little more comfortable. Right now, here's some things that I want to tell you that's probably going to help you qualify. One of the bigger things is your income. All right. Now, your income really plays a factor. Now, in reference to when you're trying to get $100,000, you definitely want to make sure that your income is averaging about at least $65,000 or higher. But usually they'll cut it off at like about maybe 55%. So you're really pushing it. But that debt to income ratio is really what makes the difference. Now, a lot of these lenders, you're going for $100,000. They're definitely going to want to see what? Proof of ID. All right. Proof of ID. So if you're not able to produce that proof of ID, then it's worthless. You know, they're not going to help you. Also, one of the things is in reference to the address. Now, let me explain this so people understand. With a lot of this AI and third-party financial credit bureaus and stuff like that, they're picking up this information and stuff whenever you apply for a loan or a credit card and stuff. So they're picking up all this information from different places and stuff. So what happens is that when you go to apply for one of these loans, even if it's a pre-approval or whatever, if the loan on your application does not match, if the address on your application does not match the address on your credit file, then you can be denied. Now, that's not saying you did anything wrong. You probably wasn't aware of. Now, how do you correct this? Well, most people would think they would go to the major credit bureaus, Experian, TransUnion, Equifax, and tell them, hey, this isn't my correct address. Well, the thing about it, they're getting their information from like companies, third-party companies like LexisNexis. So you would reach out to LexisNexis to correct it. And then once you correct it with LexisNexis, then you reach out to the credit bureaus, okay? So that's going to save you a lot of headache, because that address for a lot of people, they may have good credit, they may have low debt to income ratio, but if that address isn't matching up, like when you add on an authorized user, their address is going to pop up on your credit file, right? So you have to reach out to the credit bureaus to let them know, hey, that's not my address. My address is this, right? So they'll know that, hey, this is their actual address. So that's the address that they're going to go off of, all right? Your employment, making sure that your employment is showing on your credit file. This is so important because a lot of people, I look at credit files all the time. And a lot of time people are not even aware that their employment isn't even showing up on the credit with the credit bureaus and stuff like that. And granted, like when you're talking about like your credit cards and personal loans and stuff, usually it may be stated income and stuff like that. But if those addresses isn't matching up, you're going to have a very challenging time. All right. Now, a next lender we want to talk about is BHG. Now, here's the thing about a BHG. They're business health group. So with them, their loans go anywhere from 200 up to 200,000. Now, they say their minimum credit score is a 660. All right. And they say they're very flexible if you have high inquiries and stuff like that. But I would tell you with BHG from the past, hearing people that have gotten loans with them, they wasn't too proud of them. And the reason is because they have very high interest rates. All right. So just be careful of BHG. All right. Now, another one you want to take a look at is LightStream. Now, here's the thing about it, LightStream, that people don't know. LightStream is actually Truist. That's right. LightStream is actually Truist Bank. All right. And they pull Equifax FICO 8. All right. They pull Equifax FICO 8. Now, sometimes they can be a little finicky if you have multiple inquiries or even multiple loans. And that's another thing. Like with some of these lenders, if they already see that you have 2 open loans, then they will turn you down. All right. Even if you have good credit, if you have 2 open loans or whatever, they may turn you down. So you just have to keep that in mind. All right. So if you guys have any other questions about business credit funding, personal credit funding, removing negative items, let me give you guys one more, okay? So one more lender is Westcom Credit Union. They're on the West Coast, but Westcom Credit Union is open to any and everybody. They offer loans up to $100,000 as well, okay? So now you have at least 8 different lenders that can give you $100,000 in personal loans. If you have any other questions about business credit funding, personal credit funding, removing negative items off the credit, click the link in the description. Schedule a one-on-one consultation. Thank you.